What is up, YouTube? Scottoria here. And before we begin, I want to apologize for my camera quality and like my background not having my usual green screen or anything like that. I'm away from the office at the moment. I just recently had a newborn, so I'm on paternity leave for the past couple weeks, and I still have a little bit more time left before I return to the office, and we'll be recording from there again. But yeah, I wanted to point that out. Like, you guys are seeing a different setting and all that stuff. It's just because, I had a newborn, and that's actually what gave me the idea for this video to begin with. Now, a lot of, hardcore, sweaty grinders of Path of Exile, get to the end game super fast, leverage the new mechanics, and make crazy amounts of money, and really let their build pop. Now, there's also a huge player base that has full-time jobs. They're not able to play for 20 hours a day, or have these really expert teams to get them to the end game really fast to help boost each other up, and etc. etc. You can call them either casual players, or this video is probably I would say it's catered a little bit more toward the solo player, based off of lessons that I've learned during the past, the league's been going on for almost 5 days now since I've recorded this video. Some lessons I've learned on how to make a good amount of money, to the point where I am able to comfortably do the end game. I feel like I've got pretty good gear, my 6-link shafts, etc. And then share that with you guys, so that way, because I've just played solo so far over there since league launch. I mean, I've been hanging out with the boys in in my Discord server, which all of you guys are more than welcome to join. If you see just me hanging out in there, or me and some of the dudes, you guys are always welcome to pop in there and just hang out, ask questions, etc. I love talking to everyone. And with that, if you do enjoy my content, guys, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to check out my video. If you have any kind of comments, or like some kind of input, or something you want me to elaborate a little bit more on, feel free to comment down below as well. I'm constantly on here answering questions. Like I said, you can join my Discord server, reach out to me on Twitter. All those social media links are all going to be down below in the description. So let's get right into it. Without further ado, let's do this. The purpose of this video, like I said, is for more of the solo players, guys with can't get super sweaty, but they also want to reach the end game and make money. Every build has that awkward phase once they reach maps. Usually it's, on average, it's about yellow maps is where you kind of feel your build starting to kind of lag behind when it comes to DPS or survivability, or both. Every build goes through it where you kind of need that upgrade before you push a little bit farther, and you're also trying to figure out how to make money, because you're also kind of hit that phase where, hey, I'm kind of struggling. I don't have currency to make currency, because Path of Exile, at the end of the day, guys, let's be real, the rich get richer. The more money you have, the easier it is to make even more money. So how do you kind of get over that hump? And you know what? I've came up with a couple tips and tricks I've learned during the last, like I said, 4 or 5 days since league launch. Since I've been playing solo, I've been kind of forced into doing it. And I just kind of want to share some of these good ideas and stuff that I've, witnessed. So with the implementation of Harvest, as you can see here, the Hornet Crafting Station, it can be put in your hideout. And embarrassingly enough, I actually just figured this out like recently. I haven't really messed too much with Harvest since launch. I've actually been more pushing end game, trying to get to Awaken 8, trying to get Maven kills, etc. But this is an incredibly powerful tool for everyone to utilize. I would say, really push for it more in the red map era, and that is because of item level. Before I go into this, if this has been changed, or if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. This is information that was put out during the original Harvest League release. I just don't imagine why they would have changed it. But anyway, item level of your seeds. So these are 3 of the crafts that I've saved up. We're not going to get too much into like how they've implemented Harvest in this video. If you would like some more information about that, feel free to comment, and I'll be more than happy to elaborate for you. I just don't want to make this to end up being like an hour-long video. But anyway, so you can store up to 10 crafts in your Hornet Crafting Station, and I held on to this one for the purposes of this video, especially because of the item level here. Now, you can only use item level seeds plus or minus item level of the item you're crafting on. So what I mean by that is the seed for this craft is item level 72. So an item I can use this craft on has to either be plus or minus 10, or like within that range. So basically I can't use an item level 61 chest piece with this craft, nor could I use an item level 83 chest piece with this craft. It has to be within that plus or minus like 10 range. Now the exception to that rule is item level 76 can do everything above. I don't think it can go below 10 still, but everything above, it goes all the way up to level 100 at that point. So because you can't get item level 90 seeds, but you can get an item level 100 chest piece. So that was kind of the theory, the thought process behind that. So if you get a item level 76 and above seed, you should be able to craft anything like higher item level gear. But like I said, I don't think you can go to like item level 50 boots or something. Just something to keep in mind. And I bring this up as, being a huge moneymaker, because once you reach maps, you can actually start getting these harvest crafts offered to you from white maps, yellow, red. Like I said, you'll probably be safer with red. Unfortunately, especially since most people are starting to struggle more into yellows. However, it's still absolutely some very powerful crafts you can get, and you can absolutely sell these still in the TFT Discord server. The TFT Discord server, I'm not at all sponsored or affiliated with, with the makers of that server. I just think it's a wonderful tool that everyone should know about. I'm going to have the link down below in the description. You guys join that Discord server and get to either, buying or selling crafts there. It's a great way to make money. It's also a great way to get really high tier crafts for the gear you're trying to actively upgrade. So some stuff you can upgrade are, I had to put D&D on because I keep getting, tinged for it, or like pinged or whatever, is your cluster jewels. I've got a couple here that I'm working on at the moment for my build, and you can also craft, your boots, your rings, pretty much all kinds of stuff. So it absolutely helps you with your progression toward getting to that end game and completing your build, so that way you can really start making a lot of money. Or like I said, you can just sell it too and also make crazy amounts of money, and even stuff you don't foresee yourself needing. You can absolutely save it here and use it later, or save it here and see if you see other people asking for it. Like right now, I believe chaos oriented ones, so like augment chaos, remove chaos, are going for like 1 to 2 exalts each, and that's actually a lot of money right now this early on in the league. So without further ado, let's hop right over to Incursion. Incursion is something I actually made a whole YouTube video about in my last video. If you guys want to check that out, this was more of a speculation video. Since the release, we've actually learned a little bit more about it. Particularly, it was about this region. However, each region's different. There's other incursion areas. I think it was this one, right? Yeah, this one up top, Lexijoris. But let's talk a little bit about incursion. So right now, one of the hottest items or ways of making a lot of money are actually the sacrifice chamber. The previous league, it was the corruption chamber and the double corrupt gem rooms were the real money makers, selling at like 7 to 9 exalt each. However, right now those rooms are going, they're still profitable. They're going for about 40, maybe 50 chaos at the moment, sometimes even down as far as 30, 35 for double corrupt rooms. However, the price margin is in the sacrifice chambers that you can get, and those are a lot more common too. So you can find these common sack chambers in temples fairly easily. And once you start progressing your atlas and you're starting to get more of these nodes unlocked, where you can actually level up your temple more and faster, because that way you can start mitigating rooms that you don't need. So once you get a room to tier 3, then Alva's going to stop offering that room, and she's going to start offering, the rooms you're actually trying to upgrade. So that's one of the important reasons behind, leveling this tree up, because you get things like a 50% increase to add an additional upgrade. So for example, I actually had a sack chamber offered to me. It was a tier 1, and it was offering to go up to tier 2. However, since I had this node, a 50% chance to add an additional upgrade, it actually jumped from 1 straight to 3. Now, if that wasn't a sack chamber, if it was just some other like trash room, then that's a whole way of mitigating that room altogether. You still want to get it to 3, so that way she'll stop offering it and it'll get removed from her like offering pool and have more opportunity to actually get rooms you want. Now I bring this up because it is important to show you the reason why Sack Chamber is so valuable right now. So Mask of the Spirit Drinker. Now there's several items you can do this with in the temple. However, I'm only going to give you this one for now because it's a huge profit margin. It's a lot easier to remember, and it will probably stay valid for a long time because I was doing this last league and I was doing it the league before too. So Mask, and it was the profit margin for this was a lot higher. I want to say like day 2 of the league. This mask was going for about 5 chaos. I think it bumped up to 9. So I actually bought several of them at that time because I know everyone's going to be, I mean, with a league like this where boss killers are so powerful, minions, they were going to be something. So I actually bought a couple of these masks. I have 2 left because I've been making so many. But anyway, about 25 chaos, right? I mean, it sounds expensive, but it's really not, especially for you guys that are just kind of playing solo or casually or something. It's worth the investment, 25 chaos, because then you also go and buy the Vial of Summoning, which is going for about 9. Let's even scroll down a bit. 9, 10 chaos, you could probably get that for. Even if you paid 15, that's still what, 25, 30, 40 chaos investment, even if you paid 15, but you're probably going to get it for about 10. But let's go with the higher number. Let's say 40 chaos is what you spend. You take those 2 items to the sacrifice chamber. You put both of them in the little altar that they offer you. And then you get the Mask of the Stitched Demon. Now this looks like it's obviously a price fixer because it immediately goes to 125, 130, 130, 135, 140. So it's obviously over 100. So that means you've obviously, like I said, even if you took the higher priced version of the vial, so if you paid like 25 for the mask and you paid, instead of, if you had to scroll down some, you had to get a 15er. That's what, 40 chaos for a 125. So I mean, you made almost 100 chaos just from that alone. Easy peasy, right? And it's probably worth getting a couple. Usually Mask of the Spirit, can't even English today. Mask of the Stitched Demons usually goes for about 3 Exalt. At least last league was about 3 or 4 if I remember correctly. So it's one of those investment items. It's like a staple for a lot of minion builds because most of them use it for their Animate Guardian, which is just incredibly powerful. So the next thing I want to talk about is Jun. Actually, before I show you, kind of get too much into this, let me show you my tree setup. So right now, Jun is also offered on the Atlas for upgrading stuff. I think it's Valdo's. Yeah, you can get additional ranks in Valdo's Rest. From just this initial, like, first time you get the invitation from Maven, you get points to invest in the tree. That's super big because you can get your dudes to 3-star and actually get, leverage more of the advantages they have to offer. Now, we're not going to get too much into it, and my tree is not completely set up yet, or my board, my Syndicate board isn't fixed yet. As you can see, I'm still working on getting everyone over here. I'm getting everyone over here. This I actually have set up now. A lot of people, so I like Chimera and Thane. A lot of people don't use Thane. We see a lot of, I forget which one it usually is, but I'm choosing him because Bestiary Scarabs have always been like a fair deal. Being 4 days into the league, I kind of want to go with a more safer bet right now. I can always fix it a little bit more down the road. But Bestiary Scarabs have always been like fairly valuable, so I just want to put him there now, start getting them, and then who knows, maybe they're going to keep going up. Or if they stay about average, regardless, I'm still going to make money. Obviously, Sulfite Scarabs, these are obviously the best value we can get from Intervention. Right here isn't worked out at all. This I still need to find it that fled. And Varici is actually, he's over in a different area. He's over here right now. I need to move him over here. So Varici is going to give us the white sockets, and it that fled is actually going to give us 2 altars to upgrade Breachstones. So this is why I bring this up. So Chayula's Breachstone right now is going for about 44, 45 chaos. So if you get that for it that fled, you have it that fled over here in research, then and if it's a tier 3 or a 3-star, as you can see here, 3 stars next to her name, and he's a 1-star here. You get to 3 stars, and that's actually why I brought up the Atlas, so that way you can see the passive tree upgrade where you can get additional ranks for these guys, so you can get them up to rank 3 a lot faster. They'll offer 2 of those benches for the one safe house where you can upgrade your Chayulas from 44 chaos into 95 100. And the fact that you have 2 of those benches mean that you just made, you know, over what, 100, so 120, 130 chaos, give or take, depending on as prices fluctuate as the league progresses. That's something important to notice. Also in the TFT Discord server, and why I say Varici is usually good right here, is a lot. I'm pretty sure, last I checked, at least today, white sockets were going for about 40 chaos each, and Varici offers 1 to 3. So usually what you see in the Discord server is people saying, hey, 40 chaos per white socket. Since it's random, you don't really know exactly what your profit's going to be, other than it's going to be pure profit. So if you slam 3 white sockets onto someone's gear, you just made 120 chaos. If it only lands 1, you still made 40 chaos. Like I said, the prices for that's probably going to fluctuate. It's actually probably going to go down. I'm going to predict like 20 or 30 chaos, but it's still very valuable. Sulfite scarabs, obviously, you know, there's always going to be delvers. Those are always going to be super valuable. But that's something worth setting up. Like I said, my tree's not finished yet. I'm still in the process. It's only day 4. I'm still working on, you know, toward getting that fixed. And like I said, since we have these passive Atlas trees, passive tree Atlas mechanics, we can really leverage that. And see, as you can see, you can get additional Jund missions on completion, so you can actually start getting a lot more of those. Now, we're not going to get too much into the Watchstones and the Maven rewards, but you can also essentially leverage the end game mechanic where you can actually more or less guarantee constant, you know, master missions utilizing some of those Watchstones, as well as the other passive tree that spawns here in the middle once you start doing more of those really end game invites. I think I have one still right here. And you start doing like the Hydra, Minotaur, stuff like that. Now, day 4, we were able to get to, you know, a good amount of this end game content. But something I've learned really quickly is that choosing a boss killing type of build more so over, you know, clear speed, as kind of a tough decision a lot of players have to make. Obviously, you can have some kind of cool hybrid build that does pretty much everything, which we saw a lot of in, like, you know, old aura stackers. But anyway, since the nerf, I've noticed that boss killers that kind of focus more on so I went minions, Scolomancer, absolutely still ridiculously powerful. Since the new Maven fights are really boss oriented, so you're, you know, killing map bosses, she takes them to arena, you get the little invite thing and you fight, you know, 5 of them at a time, or once you get to the true end game, you're doing like 10 of them at a time, as well as, like you saw here, you're fighting the Shaper Guardians all at the same time. It's very important to start, you know, kind of preparing for that, because that's what we're going to start seeing a lot more of when it comes to where the meta is shifting, where a lot of people are going to be investing their gear in, what type of jewels we should be crafting, etc., etc. Now, another tip I want to provide is the new actual mechanic itself. So in Ritual, whenever you're in a map, you're going to get offered, you know, it's like a little reward window, and you spend your tribute on. I'm sure you guys are fully already well aware of how it works. If you're watching this video, you play Path of Exile, and you've definitely played the new league. But a tip about that I want to, you know, present to you is, once you're in maps, if you actually go to the boss first and kill him, and then you retreat and go back and start doing all your rituals, then you have a higher likelihood of actually having that boss spawn in those rituals, which actually gets you more tribute, because you're also getting more quant within that initial offering. Now, there's a give and take to that. Obviously, going all the way to the boss and then backtracking to all it's a real pain. It cuts time. Time is money. But it's also something for you to kind of consider and leverage based off of the tile set that you're also running. There's a lot of like map tile sets whose boss actually spawns fairly close to your initial portal. So it's kind of something to consider. I want to put out there. At least that's something I've noticed. I notice whenever I kill a boss and I still have like rituals left, like maybe I knock out 1 or 2 rituals, kill the boss, and I finish off the other 2. Then I'll notice the boss will be spawning in those, and I start getting a lot more tribute points. So that's something I kind of want to put in there for you guys to, you know, take that into consideration whenever you're doing these tribute like ritual things, and really leverage those rewards. I've actually found some insane rewards this league so far. I had a 6-link Impulsa, which it took me forever to finally get it because I had to keep deferring it. But that's actually how I was able to afford the 6-link craft for my shavs. So I actually bought the shavs itself already. Dumped a bunch of fusings into it. It refused to link. You guys have seen that really old YouTube video of me on this channel. You guys can look back at it. I have a whole like gambling experience with, you know, flipping shavs, and I'm pretty sure this chest piece is just cursed for me, like from now on. If you haven't seen that video yet, you guys should definitely go back and check that out. But I'm pretty certain I'm cursed now. But anyway, I had to get the harvest craft for the 6-link for this, and like I said, luckily I had a 6-link Impulsa, you know, offered to me in ritual, which more than I ended up getting this and also profiting some, which is weird because I need to figure out what build is running Impulsa right now, because the last 2 leagues, those were like absolutely trash when it came to like I would have like 4 of them drop and they would sell for like 5 chaos or something. But I digress. The last thing I want to talk about is the chaos recipe. I know a lot of like my really hardcore sweaty players out there are gonna be like, noobs doing chaos recipe. Well, I think it's still very, very much viable, especially like I said, those of you guys that are more solo players, not team oriented at the moment. What I would recommend is there's a great software app out there. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but it makes the chaos recipe a lot easier, where it just only shows the pieces to it that you're missing, so you can pick up, and then when you go to sell them, it is this whole thing that's really cool. I'm more of an old school guy. I actually just lay out tabs for it. So like I know my 2 tab is my weapons. This is body armors. With those, I usually give them 2 tabs. I've already depleted most of them. And then there's helmets, gloves, boots. It's just something to kind of bear in mind to do once you're in. I think I start picking up in Blood Aqueducts, because I think that goes down from level 70 plus or something. So I just know once you're in Blood Aqueducts, that's when you can start picking up gear. So all the jewelry, all that stuff. So a lot of you guys that are watching this video are probably already in maps, so this doesn't really apply. Those of you guys that, you know, take your time getting through the acts and stuff like that, that's something to kind of pay attention to. That's, like I said, that's why it's, you know, it's important for newer players. I think Chaos Recipe is an absolutely viable option, especially for newer players. Like I said, I mean, I do it myself just so that way if I ever need, like if I need to get over the hump of, you know, a couple more chaos, because like when I went through and bought all my primordial stones, like the anima stone, this is like 200 and something chaos when I picked it up. Primordial might, this was another 100 and like I think it was like 190 chaos or something yesterday, and that's because you need this to make this, so obviously they're gonna be pretty close in price. So I think I was at like 180 and I needed like 190, and just having the chaos recipe just readily available there, that just, you know what I mean, I'll usually just go through. That's why it's not completely finished. Like that's why you'll still see some boots here and some hats. That way if I just need a couple extra chaos to finish off to get that next upgrade, like I could just knock out a couple chaos sets or whatever and then have that. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. These are just some tips and some lessons I've thought of during this initial league start. Normally I'm with the dudes and like we're just super grindy and sweaty getting through the league start, really leveraging the end game mechanics and stuff. However, having a newborn, family absolutely comes first, and I play when I'm able to. I feel like I've done actually pretty well considering it's 4 days in the league. We've already killed Cirrus. I've got some pretty decent gear. I mean, I feel like my tactics have worked so far. If you have any kind of questions at all, feel free to reach out to me anytime, any place. I know I've sounded a little bit quieter in this video. Well, I have a newborn. We're trying to wake him up. But if you enjoy the video, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Join the Discord server. Reach out to me. Comment down below. And I will see you guys again very soon.